centre. Oh, this could be an opening. The man didn't want to have the opening. It's Lawrence Shackleton. That is the moment. The moment of matters.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Hearts on Sleeves podcast, a podcast that is all about Heart of Midlothian Football Club, its fans, and the ups and downs we experience on the way, both on and off the pitch. First of all, Happy New Year to all of you. I hope you had a fantastic festive period. Some of the results went our way and, well, one certainly didn't. We'll come on to all of this. But first of all, let's just check in with everyone. Adam, I'm going to come to you. How was Christmas and New Year? We've obviously met a couple of times through football since then, but yeah, how's things been? And how was work? Back to work today as well.
Yeah, things have been good. It was nice. I got 2 weeks off work. So yeah, it's always a bit of a struggle on the first day back, I find, in a way, trying to get back into routine. So luckily I was working from home today, which helped a lot, so I didn't have to get up very early. But yeah, I enjoy the break, but then after a couple of weeks of not working, I also get to a point where I don't mind, having normal routine again. So I'm actually quite happy to have a normal week, to be honest. It was nice to have a few matches as well during the time off.
Yeah, I guess, I can't say like I'm absolutely buzzing to go back to work. I kind of like a lifestyle of, having a cheese board for breakfast and so forth. But at the same time, I think my body craves routine and, 3 actual meals a day. So yeah, I totally get that.
It's even having the podcast back and things like that.
Totally. Actually,
there's good stuff that you don't do when you're off work as well. So I think obviously I'd be happy to have another week off, but it's quite nice just having the podcast, getting up at a normal time again, and not eating rubbish. so yeah, I've enjoyed it, but I'm also glad I kind of need routine after a while. So I don't mind being back, to be honest. And I'm happy that I was at home today because apparently it was freezing cold. So
I can confirm, yes, it was a bloody cold walk I had to walk the kids to school first of all, which is a joy in the freezing cold. And I had 2 children who didn't want to put their gloves on, so that was fantastic as well.
Did you ever find your gloves?
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Oh.
So that was on the way to Livingston game. I somehow managed to lose my gloves on the way there, to never be found again. Trunter, how was your winter break, and were you working at all during the break, and how did you find everything?
I actually had a really good balance for once this year, dude. So me and the other manager that works in the front of house bit with me, we decided to kind of split it. So we have, at my bit, we had like Christmas Day and Boxing Day off, and New Year's Day and the 2nd both off. So we do like 5 days a week. So we both we did it so that I did like the hectic period on the lead up to Christmas, and then just after, and then she took over. So I'm actually not back in until tomorrow. And it's actually worked out like so well. I'm usually a total stress ball over Christmas, but this one, like at work, it all went really well. It's always really busy, but I've been quite enjoying that recently. And what it also let me do was I do like some dog sitting, house sitting for my boss / neighbor, and that was just sort of for, over the New Year. I'm just sort of back yesterday. It's just next door, but like I love the dogs, and one of them's getting a bit older, so it was so nice, man. I just got to spend loads of time with this dog. I didn't have to go into work and rush back and forth like I'm usually doing for like my dogs and like the ladies' dogs. It was super chill. And on like a Christmas front, right? I'm still buzzing about this Christmas. I did my immediate family in North Berwick, and then in the afternoon it was down to my girlfriend's family down in Dunbar. And usually over the course of the day, there's enough stress and politics and stuff going on that someone's going to fall out with someone. And that's always in my head. It's all going to go off. None of it. Everyone had a really nice time. So it was just, yeah. I mean, you've known what I've been like over Christmases over the last sort of like 15, 20 years, but this
Yeah.
year, absolutely great. And it's like I say, it's just been
Amazing.
so nice to have a bit of downtime, mate. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Yeah, well, that's fantastic to hear. I mean, that is one of the things we all look forward to, seeing the family at Christmas, seeing friends over Christmas,
Within
but at the
reason.
same time, exactly, there can be those obstacles you have to come across. And I'm glad everything went smoothly for you, and it went smoothly as well for me. And I actually had a really good New Year as well. I don't know why I always feel sort of a sense of dread at New Year. I have no idea what. I suppose it's. I always find, I don't know if it's seasonal depression or something, but just as we come into January, I tend to struggle with it a bit. I had a really bad turn sort of last January, in fact, saw me on medication for it. But this year, I don't know if it's maybe because I've been doing the running. I think that's been a good bit of routine for me as well. So I wonder if it's just part of the fact that you kind of go out of routine, and sometimes if you do struggle with your mental well-being, maybe being out of routine can kind of set you off a wee bit. So just having that to look forward to, I've actually come to a point now where I actually enjoy my runs, gammy knees and all. So yeah,
Did
so
you
that's
did you
actually been a
manage
really
them
big.
even when it got freezing? Because that kind of threw
Yeah,
me off. I'd
yeah.
been out a few times, and then it got so cold that even taking one of the dogs I was looking after as a lab, and I was
Mm.
like, right, just you run off ahead. I'm freezing my arse off. So it kind of put an end to the running for a wee while for me.
Yeah, I mean, I did have a couple of skitey moments and a couple of close leg breaks, but you know what? I managed to stay balanced for once in my puff. So yes, no, survived to tell the tale.
Well,
How's yourself, John? How was your festive period, and how's New Year been for you so far?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I work most of the time over it, so I only usually get Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Day off. Um, so yeah, I've just been working the rest of the time, so it's not really been that different, to be honest. I mean, obviously it was good spending time with family. New Year was nice, I had a quiet one, but I've not really felt like as as you were saying, Adam, with you having time off, I've not really felt that space and time. It's just carried on for me. It's just been like having a wee bit of a longer weekend.
I'm glad it is all went well for all of us here, and I hope everyone listening had a good time and was able to spend it with family and friends. And the Hibs result didn't make things too miserable. We will have to talk about that in some shape or form, but we do also have two wins to talk about as well. Most recently, of course, is the Livi game, which is the one we will come on to first of all. So after the Hibs game, me and Adam kind of had the conversation saying we really wanted not just a win, but also a really good performance, a resounding victory. And we certainly got 45 minutes of a very good performance, and we managed to get the win. Certainly wasn't resounding, but it was the 3 points. And as McInnes said himself, sometimes a goal is enough, and that was certainly the case. So going on to the game then, how were you feeling going into this one, Adam? I think you're a bit like myself. You're a little bit wary of it, weren't you?
I was really just hoping to bounce back after the Hibs game because I think we've occasionally struggled a little bit more against some of the smaller teams, like St Mirren this season. So I was a little bit wary going into it. Mainly though because with every passing game, I just become more nervous and worried, and the closer we get to being potentially winning the league, every single match I feel under more pressure. So I think I was a bit nervous going into it. I mean, I thought we were going to win, but I am getting more nervous each game, and I think by the end of the season, if we're still in a few games' time, if we're still near the top, I'll be a nervous wreck, which is ridiculous because I should be just enjoying us being top of the league. But yeah, I'm finding it a lot more nerve-wracking now that we're getting a bit closer to the end of the season.
That's the thing, isn't it? People keep saying, "Oh, you should be enjoying it whilst we're on, this great run at the top of the league." But as you say, just every game becomes so much more stressful now as well. How were you feeling about it, John? And what was your thoughts about the lineup as well? I'm going to sort of rattle through who we had playing. Now, it was a debut for Altina, obviously, on the right back position. Long awaited addition of right back to our squad. An official one, not a standing one. And we also had Schwolo in goals, Halkett and Finlay making the centre backs. Got Milne on the left hand side. Then the familiar pairing, Benny and Devlin. Then up front, there's Magnuson, Braga, Kizaridis. And right at the front, at the top, is Shankland. So what is your thoughts about that lineup then?
I think McInnes did exactly what he should. With regards to bringing Benny back in, I think you could see the difference when he came on in the derby, and even in the game against Livi, how much more control we had. Before the actual game started, it's like Adam was saying, it's the most like sort of apprehensive I've been before a game against Livi. Like after the Celtic Rangers game, I was like, oh, that's brilliant for us, and I started going, okay, but now this game now this game means something. Like, it becomes even more important. So yeah, I was a bit nervous before it, but we got the job done. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and it was a really strong performance, as I said, in that first half. What were your thoughts on that first half performance? Anyone stand out for you? And did you see much of Jordi Altina, Trunner?
From what little I have seen, I thought Altina did look pretty composed, pretty good, and I think it's one of these proper exciting signings. But I was already going to be absolutely raving about him after the wee. Was that like a real thing or was that AI? The wee interview thing. So
yeah, that was AI.
I knew it was AI. I knew it was AI, and then another of my mates was like, "No, that'll be like a real thing." I'm like, "It's not a real thing," but I don't know. I'm just really excited about that. Really interested to see what's going to happen with Borch if he's just getting turfed out and kind of why. But it's good to see that we've got someone playing there now. That's their position. We're backing them. Yeah, so excited about that. It just, it's just like another little Tetris piece coming into place. And I think I've been quite not super focused on the football for the last sort of couple of weeks as well. And I think that's taken a lot of like obviously the loss of which we will not speak. I wasn't particularly happy about, but after that, I've even stuff like how poorly Celtic have been doing. It's just I'm feeling quite chill at the moment, and yeah, having a new right back. So all I wanted for Christmas.
Also, to give some context to what Trunter was talking about there with the AI, so I forwarded into our group chat a video that Altina took just of him going, well, it's great to be here, jambos, all this kind of thing, general chat that you usually get from a footballer coming to club. It's just a wee sort of selfie. And then I followed up, used the AI to make him say a bit afterwards, going, and also fuck the high bees. So,
It was really good, mate. It was really good.
I was quite proud of it, even if it was just AI. Anyway, yes, I mean, I have to say, I was thoroughly impressed with Altina, and he did manage to get himself an assist. It was a fantastic cross, and a header was equal to, if not better than it, from Halkett. What's your thoughts on the first half, Adam? And not just Jordi Altina's performance, but anyone else that kind of stuck out for you in that first half?
Yeah, I thought it was an excellent first half. We should have probably been like 3-0 up, to be honest, at half time. I thought Altina was excellent. Hopefully the answer to the problems we've had this season so far. He looked really assured attacking, as well as, pretty composed defensively. And like John said, I was delighted to see Benny come back in. I thought Benny and Devlin did really well. Yeah, I just thought it was a really assured performance. Lots of possession, lots of shots, and a big recovery from the derby.
I think one of the players I want to also talk about was Magnuson. So, I mean, he's been a continual point of conversation over the past month or two for us. What I found, I was impressed as much as I was frustrated. He was getting into some excellent positions, but his finishing it's just not quite there. Was it? I'm trying to think what the other game was, where he came, inches away from scoring. Was it perhaps a Rangers game? He's so good at getting into positions, but he's just not quite there as far as finishing goes. His headers are just straight at the keeper, or he's not quite getting on the end of things. I can see promise with him, John. What's your feelings on him on that performance, and the Rangers and Hibs game as well with him?
There's definitely a player there. I think it's maybe just picking and choosing the right games for him. I don't know. Like I was saying to Adam at the game, I was like, does it suit him? Maybe not so much. I think he maybe suits a bit more of a battle, which maybe we were expecting from Livi, but I didn't really think he was that involved in sort of the middle of the park and like the physical side. Thought he was a bit further forward. But yeah, I definitely think I think he'll come good with time. Maybe just needs to adjust and get more used to the league.
Yeah. And at times he kind of almost played on the wing a bit more, which is interesting to see. He's one of those guys. I just feel that McInnes is trying to almost learn from watching him to see how best to play him in a way. He's one that I'm enjoying watching though. As I say, I do find him frustrating at the moment, but I know that there's more to come from him, and I think as the season progresses, we will see him connect. I wouldn't be surprised to see him crop up to say five or six goals come the end of a season. To be honest,
yeah, he definitely should have scored against Livi.
yeah, there was a couple of huge moments, and to be honest, even though we didn't go into the second half 3 or 4 goals up, it wasn't through lack of effort. There was just really unlucky moments, and I have to say actually, Pryor, the Livi keeper, had a sensational game, and Schwolo, as we talk about the second half, he also needed to have a pretty good game as well. The second half then, we didn't really seem to click in the same way, and I don't know if it was nervousness because of that, the fact we were so dominant and didn't manage to get an extra goal, or if it was perhaps positional. Any thoughts about that second half, Adam?
It kind of felt like we missed the opportunity to get quite far ahead in the first half. Obviously, you can't keep up. I don't think we can keep up that level of performance for 90 minutes every week. And then I think, again, like the further we get into the league, the more pressure there is, I think, on every match. So I think everything was just a little bit nervy. And I think we're gonna see a few games like that one. I guess what was important to me was, against Killy, we lost a late goal. I was a bit worried the Livi game was going to turn into the same kind of one as the Killy one. So I think it was a big positive that we actually managed to hang on. And I wouldn't say hang on, actually, because I don't think Livi had like tons of great chances. But I think for me, we're going to get a few halves like that. Especially you're playing at home against a team like Livi who are not like going to just attack endlessly. So I don't know. I think it's just a combination of sort of nerves and pressure. Some of these games are going to be a little bit harder to see out than others. But ultimately, we got the win, and I think that's all that really mattered.
Yeah, I thought Yangi might sneak one near the end. He had a couple of good. Swallow did well with him, but it was one of those games where I'm like, oh, this is going to be a 1-1.
Yeah, I was certainly worried about that with like 20 minutes to go. I was certainly worried that we were going to lose a goal. But I think the more that you don't lose a goal, the more that you hang on in those situations, the more confident we are next time we're in that situation.
I think also really kind of what made me feel quite okay with just getting a 1-0. Actually really quite happy with just getting the 1-0 despite my expectations and hopes it would, be an absolute battering. Livi, to be fair, they don't really tend to get. I mean, they're right, quite fairly stuck on the bottom of the table, but they don't tend to to lose by too many goals, to be perfectly honest. They are a stuffy team to play against. The thing that really, other than that first half performance, was just the individual performance from Altina. He perhaps wasn't man of the match, but at the same time, he looked exactly the kind of player that we've been wanting for, since Smith left. I mean, genuinely, I can't think of a player who's really just come on straight away and looked like he fit right into that position. So yeah, and also I was just really happy to see him start. The confidence just to start him as well. Admittedly, it wasn't like the biggest of games. It's against Livi, but still, it's you sometimes think with new signings there might be a couple of games as substitute appearances, but McInnes clearly had a lot of confidence in him to start him, and his confidence was well placed, I felt.
I'm also glad to see Kajata come on again. I think he got a bit longer, and yeah, I think he's going to become a bigger player at some point. I know they've got Chesnikov obviously coming in, but the way I saw an interview, McInnes seems to be talking a bit more positively about him. I've got decent hopes for him at the moment.
And I was going to mention him later on at some point, Chesnikov, but we might as well discuss it here. That Chesnikov has now arrived, and whilst I don't expect he's going to come straight in fact, it'd be very doubtful he came straight in for the Dundee game this weekend. He will now start training with the team, I expect, and it's been how long? It's been about a year in the pipeline, this one, hasn't it? We signed it in the summer, but I mean, there was chat of him like months before that.
It was last January we were first
That's
interested.
Crazy.
I saw a real photo of him though, which I was like, he does exist.
When did his season end?
October.
Oh.
But you've got to look at it like he's been doing pre-season, I guess, for the last few weeks, right?
He was on a fitness plan for our training plan from March.
Unless he's another Vanacek, he should be ready. If he turns up and he's like absolutely massive, like Vanacek, then that would be a worry. But I could see him coming on as a sub at the weekend. Actually, I think we'll see
there's no pressure on him either after all this time.
He's not been built up every single week and then every single interview for about 6 months.
I think the really good thing about Kajata coming back in and having a couple of substitute appearances now and clearly coming more into consideration, he's almost kind of got a trademark move, Kajata, with that cross now, hasn't he? But
it's a good one.
It is a good one. It's good. The main thing is that obviously it's great that he can provide crosses in and everything, but at the same time, what I think is can be a big difference to the team is just competition for places. You want your team all fighting for those positions. Or the Chesnikov, also, we have been talking about him for God knows how long. He doesn't know how much we've been talking about him, and that he's not necessarily a dead cert to start, and players are going to want to really step up now that there's other players coming in as well. So hopefully you'll see it across the team as we get more recruits coming in over the transfer window.
There's been a few rumours the last couple of weeks, or last week or so even. A few different ones. Don't know if you've seen any of them.
Feel free to rattle them off.
I mean, there's only sort of two main ones I've seen, and that's the one you sent in. Was it the Rogers Mato?
Rogers Mato, yeah.
And then obviously Luke Graham's been, the Dundee centre back's been sort of mentioned last couple of days, but that's obviously alongside Aberdeen, so who knows how much is in that.
Yeah, so I mean, we do know definitely that a striker has been to Tynecastle, and basically we're now fully expecting a striker to come through. There is rumours that it is Rogers Mato. So he is a Ugandan international. He scored just last week, actually, against Nigeria at the Cup of Nations. Can name two former Heart Stars who are in the Uganda squad alongside him?
Toby Civic.
Civic, yeah, and who's the other one?
Uche.
Well done. And also Jordan Abita is there as well, the Hibs player, and Ugandan team. But Uganda ended up using 3 goalkeepers in that game against Nigeria.
Like forced to do that, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
good.
So the first guy was sent off. Then the next guy, he's like in his 40s, and gave himself a mischief saving a shot. So he managed to limp on till half time, and then they had to sub in another guy. Anyway.
He played everywhere for us, so
He did indeed. But yeah, so that's the one that's mentioned, and if it is him, he wouldn't be stuck at the African Cup of Nations because Uganda have been punted out, didn't make it through their group stages. So if it is him, then we could, perhaps see him in the coming days. You mentioned the other one there, Luke Graham, the Dundee defender. Again, this is just all online chatter and everything. I don't know how much is actually in this one.
The post I saw was that I think it's Portsmouth are planning to bid on him, but in the article I read the bottom of it, it said that I think it was one. It said something along the lines of he was flagged to us in the summer or something like that. But I think in the article it basically put it as if McKinnon said they wanted Finlay instead for a bit more experience.
Fair enough.
Again, it could be a load of rubbish, but that's just what it was saying.
I do actually feel like you'll see a lot. Our team mentioned in a lot of like transfer rumours. My suspicion is it's probably quite often put out by agents and so forth, because if you want, everyone in football, who's involved in transfers and so forth, knows about Jamestown Analytics. So to name drop us, who use Jamestown Analytics, can perhaps make people more interested in bidding for you or coming in for you. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's absolutely nothing in these. I do feel the Rogers Matto one does have a bit more legs to it. We'll see. The literally only reason I'm saying that is because I'm sure his brother shared a post about him joining Hearts or something like that. Anyway, we'll see. But however, do expect perhaps even by this time next week for us to have, or at least be in talks with another striker coming in, if not already signed.
I guess we'll have to get a few out as well, though. If we're going to keep bringing players in, we're going to have to get rid of some.
Who would be on your list to move on, apart from Alan Forrest?
Funny you say, I actually do have a list.
Yeah,
it's not a list. I was making a list of players that I'd seen like rumored to be going out as well, or like have gone out. So a few of the names I put down were obviously Forrest. That's just my own opinion. I think he should try and get cut of losses. He's going to go for free anyway.
On a serious note, I don't think it's just your opinion. I think it's everyone pretty much.
These aren't me saying that they should go, but it's just ones I think could. So obviously Khartoum, I think we could see him going now. Again, just cut losses and
we can get enough for it.
I think Borshkovink could go either now or in the summer.
Yeah, agreed.
Wilson probably out on a loan.
Yeah.
And then the last one, this is one that I saw. This is just purely I saw someone saying online. I was a bit shocked by it, but I saw someone saying that Kingsley had been rumoured to be leaving as well.
No,
I've seen that as well. Yeah.
What about Kabangu?
Oh yeah, well I feel like he's going no matter what in January.
Yeah, because I mean he's 27. He's not really getting any minutes, is he? I think he'll want to move on if he can.
Also, speaking of Kabangu, that's part of the rumours as well, is that if we're to get a new striker in, Kabangu has to go first to make money for him. Again, I don't know how much is in this, but that's kind of the other thing that's been doing the rounds as well. So, yeah, I would certainly expect to see Kabangu gone come the end of a transfer window.
Another one's maybe Xander Clark. Could see him moving on.
Yeah.
If we got an offer again, depends on what interest there is, I guess.
So it depends, obviously, because now Stone's away on loan. So we've got like Stone, McFarlane. So it's just Clark, Gordon, Swallow, and Fulton, I suppose. But
Is Fulton back? Is he fit?
I don't know if he's back really fit yet. But I guess that's the thing is, do we, like you've obviously just mentioned that story at the Africa Cup of Nations of the three goalkeepers. Do you look at it and go, if we're going for the title, is it worth just keeping him and being like, tough luck, you're staying?
Yeah, because I think Craig Gordon 100% will stay, and because there was obviously rumours about him before. I think Gordon will stay. Clark's the only one that's maybe a question mark. If you had Ryan Fulton as third choice, you probably wouldn't need him at all. So I think it's possible Clark will go, but Gordon, I would say 100% won't go.
You're also missing out on the fact that Jamie Mack could still happily step up.
It's an absolute joke that he's not been on the bench at least a couple of times.
Ken. I saw a video of him the other day, and I think he said something along the lines, introduced himself as Art's 9th choice goalkeeper.
I saw that. Yeah, I thought that was funny. I actually think he is about 9th choice as well.
He probably is, unfortunately, but I mean, the chance of us getting out everyone we've just mentioned there, is pretty slim. Alan Forrest, for example, I think I know you kind of say him a wee bit in jest, to be honest, John, but I think he's someone we'd be quite happy to keep because he still offers something. If I'm wanting to throw out wild cards, I wouldn't be surprised to see someone like Jamie McCart go. He's just not really had a chance at all, despite, I appreciate it's been a while since he's come back from injury now, and he's still just not come into consideration. So if you wanted someone that, that's not been mentioned that, may surprise us to go out the door, then maybe he'd be one of them. Thing is, though, we gave him a huge contract, I'm sure, at the time.
Yeah, it was weird.
It's that's the thing. You might not want if he's on decent money. But I think that's not a bad shout though.
My only other thinking would be in that position, obviously looking at summer, it's obviously quite unlikely. Just say, for example, Finlay doesn't re-sign. Maybe they're thinking, oh, well, McCart's still good enough to come in, and then obviously there's talk, so it's looking at like Luke Graham. Will that be a position we're maybe looking at, just in case?
Yeah, every possibility. Frankie Kent, now he's one. I'm sure, is he out of contract this summer then?
Yeah.
I think we'll probably just keep him around, to be honest.
Yeah, I reckon he'll probably leave in the summer, but I don't think he'll leave before then.
No.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think Spittle's another one who could be interesting.
I don't mind having guys like Spittle around.
Yeah.
I think the problem we have is the squad's so big, and almost everyone we've mentioned has some use from staying. But I think McInnes has done a great job at keeping everyone happy. If we add like another couple of players, you've probably got to move on, like 2 or 3 of them at least, I'd say.
Yeah.
So it might be someone that has a little bit of use for us, but we can actually get a club to take them. So
it would be just like position for position, won't it? One in, one out.
Yeah. Because I think all of the guys, Spittle, I think has got something to offer. Forrest, I know we obviously like joke about him, but like Jamie said, Forrest still has his moments. Maybe not so much when you're bringing in like Chesnikov, but you've got to move on. You've got to move someone on, haven't you? Because our squad's going to be massive.
I'll just be glad if it's Kingsley.
Yeah, that'd be a strange one if he left. I mean, I hope he doesn't because
he offers way too much, man. He scores those shit pingers that I love.
But he's played quite a lot this year as well.
Yeah,
and he's even started quite a lot of games, so it's not like he's out of the picture. So I'd think now that he's not got, he's in his 30s now. He's been at Hearts for a few years. I think he'd want to stay, in case we actually go on and win the league. So I hope he's not one of the guys that moves on.
That was actually
Sorry, there was an HITV Sevens video that came out. I think it was like today. It was like the best footballer from every single city in the UK, and wherever he was born, I'm sure that Kingsley was the best active footballer from his city in the UK. I'm going to look that up.
Sterling, apparently.
Yeah, that's it, Sterling. Best player from Stirling, Stevie Kingsley. Good lad.
I think one thing I would say is you made a quite a good point, Adam, about players like Kingsley wanting to stay around to win the league. That
Yeah,
might be another
exactly.
reason. That may be another reason why it's hard to like shift some of these players. Because if they're thinking be part of a team that makes history, could be another reason just to stick around.
And
For
also,
next seasons.
everyone we've mentioned, they're not going to be moving up, are they?
Yeah.
You're not going to get more money, and you're not going to get a better club than Hearts for all the guys we've mentioned, I'd say. So, yeah, I think sticking around in case we win the league is a pretty decent option for most of them. But then guys like Khartoum, you're not even anywhere near the squad. I don't think he's going to care about us winning the league, given that he's not featured in any way whatsoever.
Yeah, and the only thing kind of stopping him will be just the fact that he's probably getting paid more here than he would elsewhere. So, but at the same time, you don't. If you're a professional footballer, he's 30 now, so he's still got a few years left. Maybe 3 or 4 years left. He's not going to want to just spend it on his arse. So, I wouldn't be surprised. He's definitely one I'd expect to go in this window.
Guys from other countries, they might just want to move back home. They might have families and stuff. I think someone like him is more likely to want to just leave Edinburgh, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not really worked out for him.
Yeah.
So I think it's just January's a hard window, isn't it? And it might not be till the last week of the window that we actually move them on. It's not the easiest window to get players to leave, I don't think.
So we do have to just briefly touch on the Hibs game. We were pretty terrible for about 75 minutes, yet still we almost managed to get a draw from it. It's one of those ones that's a really interesting one, because after the full-time whistle went, every Hearts fan was still left in the away end, and there was quite a few. All seemed to applaud the Hearts players off the pitch. There just seems to be a real sense of belief, even on really shockingly poor performances like that. This team is a very capable one. You were at the game with me, Adam. Do you want to first start talking about that macaroni pie you had?
So, I praised the macaroni pie that I had, and then a couple minutes later, I started speaking, and Jamie was absolutely raging, thinking I was going to talk about the pie again. But I was actually just saying I was happy we were sitting in the back row and had a good view. But it was a good. Actually, funnily enough, the one I had at Tynecastle at the last match was the same. So I think they've done something. The suppliers have obviously changed the macaroni pies in general, because the Tynecastle one was actually the same as the one I had at Easter Road. So if you join next week, listeners, we'll have another update on macaroni pies. But no, they were better than they were. So it was one of the highlights of the match, actually, having the macaroni pie, if I'm honest.
So do you think they're pumping out High-B pies at Tynecastle as well?
It's probably the same company, isn't it? Although, you get pizza at Easter Road, which we don't get. So I don't know if it's the same catering or not. But that's again, this probably deserves its own special episode just on Tynecastle and Easter Road catering, right?
Yeah.
You get some good pies at other away days as well. Was it St Mirren, or one of them had like a haggis one or something like that? Anyway, sorry, Jamie. This is why you don't get me to go off on a tangent. It was a very difficult watch, and certainly not what we expected. The only thing I would say, right, is we weren't great at all. I don't personally think it was a 3-0 kind of game. By the time they were 3-0 up, I don't think it was. It didn't feel to me like a kind of game that should have been 3-0 down at that point. I think if Shankland had scored and got it to 1-1, it could have been a very different day. I thought we were just weak defensively, but I don't think it was a game where they were just having chance after chance after chance and were hammering us. It was a really strange 3-0 for me, despite us not being very good.
No, and the ones that the opportunities they took weren't gilt edged or anything, and it was they did when they after went through 3 up, they did look quite dominant, and we did kind of wonder if this was going to be a really bad one. But at the same time, almost within the same breath, you were saying to me, and I was saying back to you, that you never know, there still might be a chance. And what do you know? 10, 15 minutes later, it was 3-2, almost 3 all. So, I mean, it's just the bizarre nature of watching this Hearts team.
There's something about this season. I think any other season in recent years, if we were 3-0 down against Hibs, I'd have just expected us to collapse.
Mm.
But there's something about this team that, me and you joked at half time we were going to leave it 3-0. But I actually didn't consider leaving because obviously their third goal was scored quite early. But I don't think you can ever really write us off in a match. The spirit is pretty amazing at the moment. And I felt like if the second goal from Hearts had come just 5 minutes earlier, I think we would have got an equaliser. I think the second goal was just a little bit too late and left us a little bit too much to do. Even then, we were very close, Shankland's chance in particular at the end. So it was a very strange derby where I was like, at 3-0, I was like, oh my God, we're going to end up losing 6-0. But to actually come back and get it to 3-2 and show that spirit and almost get a draw, it kind of... It's not the worst I've felt coming out of a derby defeat.
No.
And it was worrying, but at the same time, I don't think there's that many teams that would do a comeback like that. We came back against Motherwell from 3-0 down, very nearly did it against Hibs. And I thought Hibs kind of lost it once we scored. Mm-hmm. I think Hibs were really hanging on. And obviously their mentality was, I think it was a very difficult end for Hibs, and they were delighted, obviously, to win it. So whilst it was very worrying, I think there's still encouraging signs of the fact that we almost got a draw, because that would have been one of the most crazy comebacks you could ever see. It would have been up there, maybe even better than the Graham Weir derby.
Certain Cammy Devlin scoring, by the way.
I thought I was going wide at the time. When from the stand, I honestly thought it wasn't going in. It seemed to go at about 1 mile per hour, and then I honestly thought he'd missed it at first.
I remember saying to you, Adam, the one that Shankland didn't score right at the end, I thought that was more in than the Devlin one that actually went in. It was just...
Yeah, 100%. I thought that was going in all the way. That was so unlucky.
Yeah.
Can you just imagine the celebrations if we scored that one? God.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I clapped him off the pitch, which is something I wouldn't normally do at a derby loss either. It wasn't like Jamie when like a former player plays against us and Jamie's cheering like crazy. It was more like a polite applause. But yeah, I thought he deserved a little bit of an applause for the near comeback, which is not something I'd typically do. But I think when you're top of the league, you've got to cut the team more slack than you would in a normal season as well. You've got to back.
And I think that's kind of the thing I also noticed, going back a wee bit to the Livi game. If you compare the atmosphere to that game to the Rangers one, the Rangers game, the atmosphere was unbelievable. There was just such a sense of belief, whereas with the Livi game, things were just a wee bit more subdued, actually quite a lot more, but subdued. And I think perhaps part of that, is the after effects of the fact we lost the derby, but also just, the flashbacks to that Killie game where we managed to lose 3 points right at the death.
I think that's right. I also think there's a bit of nervousness in the fan base. Most of us, it's been a long time since there's been a title challenge, and I think we're not used to it. So I think I just think everyone gets a bit nervous, and I don't think there was much atmosphere at all against Livi. But I think if we were challenging every year, that might start to change, and there might be a bit more. It might change a bit, but I think we're going to get a few matches like that where the crowd's a bit nervy.
Hey, going back to the Rangers game, I want to touch on that one as well, because we've not talked about that. That was just one of the most confident and assured performances I've seen us have against Rangers, even more so than the Ibrox one. I felt it was just a fantastic... I do appreciate Rangers had that one ruled out by, an inch at best, and then I'm sure you could still find people on social media saying it shouldn't have been cut off their goal, or we scored ours. But it was just, yeah. What also really stuck out to me about that game was at half time was going sort of through the concourse to meet you. We were off to try and find Davy to give him a Christmas card. Davy, who's on the show previously, we're going to try and find him and give him a Christmas card. And just everyone was like celebrating, at half time. There was just such confidence that we are going to see this through. And they're playing, don't stop the party. And everyone's just, going nuts at half time. It's the first time I've really seen that at Tynecastle in a long, long time.
Funny thing is, for me, that's one of the highlights in the last couple of months. Like that half time and full time, just seeing that level of happiness was just, it was unbelievable. Everyone was just sort of, I don't remember for a long time seeing everyone look so happy at a match.
Also, I want to talk about the Shanklin goal briefly as well, because the one that he's at a sort of tight angle and he shoots it, he scores it at Butland's near post, and everyone's saying, Butland should have been doing better and all this kind of thing. I think this is something Shanklin's been working on, because they had a really similar shot at the Celtic game when we beat them at Celtic Park. I'm sure he tried something similar in Schmeichel. I think it's just one of these shots where goalkeepers automatically assume you're going to go across them for someone else coming in for it. So I thought it was actually a really clever goal, and I think too much is being made of Butland making an error, but it's actually quite a really clever strike by Shanklin for that one. Any other thoughts on the Rangers game at all? Or the Hibs game, of course.
Probably just say that it's probably the least annoyed I've been after a derby loss, which sounds weird, but I think just being top and, looking at it and going, do you know what, like if Shanklin had scored at the end, you'd look at that draw and go, that's a great result. That in those circumstances, I think there's just a lot to be positive about still. It's only a second loss, still top of the league. Plenty to come. But yeah, that's about it.
I wonder if we had a little bit of a slump, didn't win in 4 games, and I think the fact that we bounced back from that with 3 massive wins, maybe that's making it slightly easier now when we lose a game, because there's a bit more confidence we will bounce back again. So maybe that's also making a difference. I think there's a bit more belief that we're not just going to go on a bad run. I don't see this team going on a really bad run for a few games in a row.
Yeah.
The other thing I said to you as well, Adam, was that we know how Jamestown works, and that you're trying to get players in, sell them on for a higher profit, and then get better players in. Understanding the Jamestown model makes you realise that this is possibly the weakest Hearts team Hibs are likely to face for the foreseeable future. So that also kind of took the sting out of it for me as well, that all these players who've been with us for some time that were looking to upgrade, they probably won't be here next time. Well, maybe not next time we play them, but certainly next season. So this is one of the weakest, if not the weakest Hearts team they will face in the next few years, is my few thoughts about it as well. Okay, so before we go ahead and look at the Dundee game and get the low watch, and also have a discussion over a little challenge I've set for all of us as well, I do want to touch on other results that happened this weekend. The 2 biggest results, obviously, Celtic losing to Rangers and Falkirk beating Aberdeen, saw 2 more managers lose their job. Sadly, Wilfried Nancy, he is away. He goes with our best wishes, it's fair to say. And also Jimmy Thielen goes with our best wishes, because he helped deny Hibs their first ever group stage football. So 2 Hearts legends departing this week. What's everyone's feelings about them?
Wish they'd stayed, particularly Nancy. It was getting out. I mean, it was getting out of hand. That pish that he said about he knows Scottish football inside out because he almost signed for Carlisle. I mean, you just knew that this was going to be the gift that kept on giving. And do you know? I knew he was going to have to go, but it seemed so ludicrous that after what was it, 33 days? No, wait, how long was it?
Yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
33 days. Yeah.
See, I looked it up earlier, and saying it back, it sounds mad that's actually the case. So yeah, it was a good time. Good times had by all. Really enjoyed it.
I think we're lucky, you know, that he came in, got Celtic 4 defeats in the league.
Yep.
So that could no matter what Martin O'Neill does, you know, that's going to have a negative impact on their chances. So yeah, gutted that he's gone, but I think I'm also grateful that they appointed him and they lost so many games under him. So hopefully that'll. I don't think they can. I don't think they'll just instantly. I think this team will lose again. I don't think they're gonna get O'Neill and then suddenly win every match. You know, they'll do better under O'Neill, but they're not a brilliant team. So I think they've still got defeats in them for sure.
I mean, regardless of O'Neill coming in, they still need more players coming in to strengthen their squad. And also, I have to say, if they keep Schmeichel in goals, then every team's got a chance of scoring against him because he's just looked phenomenally poor since kind of the start of the season, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, look, I was a bit gutted about O'Neill coming back in because he did manage to find a bit of form for Celtic. I guess one thing I was kind of glad about was that they didn't say, for example, come in for Jens Bertolascu from Motherwell or something like that, who's just absolutely flying with them. You know, I think they probably went for a bit of a cheaper option because they would have had to pay out a lot for Wilfried Nancy as well. We'll see how O'Neill gets on. What's also interesting to me about Jimmy Thielen leaving is I had no confidence in Aberdeen beating. Now, so Aberdeen are facing Rangers twice this week. If Rangers win both games and say we slip up at Dundee, then that would make them level in points with us. We'd have a game in hand, but you know, just a bit of a reality check. So I was quite happy to see him go because you know, like I said, I didn't see Thielen getting anything from either game, but with a new manager bounce, even if it's interim coach that comes in, then I still fancy that them having more of a chance getting something off Rangers with that rather than Thielen.
I would agree with you that I think Aberdeen have got more chance against Rangers now that they've sacked their manager. But I can't see. I could see Rangers winning both of them, certainly. I'm not confident, but I do think sacking the manager might give them a little bit of a bounce, hopefully.
Yeah. I guess it's one of those things. We can worry. In fact, regardless of what I say, we will worry about what other teams are getting. But best we can do, and I'm sure this is what I'm kind of saying to players, just focus on ourselves. You know, and you know, if you saw Rangers against Celtic in that first half, Rangers looked absolutely dreadful. I mean, genuinely dreadful in that first half against what is a pretty poor Celtic team. Yes, he did manage to figure it out. Role. He did manage to figure it out, and obviously went on to win the game quite convincingly. But still, a few more first half performances like that, and you know, they're going to drop points on the way. And just going back to our game, we managed to control that game pretty well. So I'd still certainly fancy our chances against Rangers when it comes about. One name I did see connected to the Aberdeen job, which I thought would be interesting if it happens, is Stephen Robinson. Just thought I'd briefly mention it because to me that seems like an obvious choice for them. He's I know Aberdeen fans might not be thrilled with it and want, you know, another signing like Thielen, but you just feel Robinson's done all he can for St Mirren now, hasn't he? He's got a League Cup. Their form's dipping now, so he's probably best that he goes whilst his stock is still pretty high. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him join Aberdeen. whether that'll happen this week or going beyond, it'll be interesting to see. The main thing is, though, that's Stephen Presley now lasted longer than both the old firm and also Aberdeen's management, and who knows who else he'll outlast. But he is the coach we will be up against this coming Sunday. Now, we've had very few resounding victories this season. One of them, however, was against Dundee when we faced them last. I think they will be a much more difficult challenge this time, not least because we're playing them at Dens Park, but also just because they have found some form. That's 3 games in a row now that they've managed to get victories at, and I think it's the first time in 10, 20 years that they've managed to get 3 games on the bounce. I think they will present a challenge to us, and it's certainly by no means a guaranteed 3 points, despite the result we got against them last time. John, have you got any thoughts about this game and players or anything we should be wary of going into it?
It's hard to say with Dundee. They're a bit of a weird team. From what I've seen anyway, it seems to be that, 1 week they'll have a big result. They're like the Celtic game, for example, and then the next game they looked pretty bang average. Um, I really don't know what to expect, to be honest. I can't even remember the last game we played against them, how it was, but yeah, I think it's one of those ones again, you look at it, we should have enough to beat them. Just depends if, Braga, Kizzy, Shanks turn up. I think if they do, it should be relatively straightforward, but they've got a couple of decent players. I think they're the main one though, I think is it Congreve? I
Tammy
think he was
Congreve.
out. Yes, I think he was out the last for the derby, so hopefully it's something that keeps him out against us as well. Obviously they'll be missing Danda, Starman.
He
To be
played
fair, he's
against
actually done pretty well last past couple of games, Dan.
He has. He's picked up.
he played against Dundee United, by the way.
Yeah, he
Hungry.
wasn't. Did he? Was it the game
It's
before then he
great
wasn't playing?
he missed. Yeah,
Ah,
he started against Dundee United, so he must be back.
well, he's decent. We've got a couple other guys. I
Well,
think Yo Gain or something.
the guy, yeah, but the one I'm concerned about is their striker. Hey, he scored in the last past
Yes.
2 games, and if you look at the one he scored against Dundee United at the weekend, he's got a lot of pace about him, and that was actually a really clinical finish. So he's definitely one I'm, concerned about. I have to say that I was quite impressed with the way we managed to marshal some of the players out in our past few games. But pace is something that still, I think, causes us issues. In the Hibs game, you could see it was an issue at times. So Hay might be one of those guys I'd be concerned about. Is there any players you'd particularly like to see in this game? I mean, Chesnikov, we're all going to say that, right? But is there anyone else or anything you'd particularly like to see in this game? I'll start with you, Trunter.
Chesnikov.
Right. Anyone else?
Geordie.
Yeah, George Eltina again. Looking forward to seeing what he can provide on that, right? And I think, it'd be proper exciting if he comes on, Chesnikov comes on alongside him. I think that's going to present, a lot of issues for any team, never mind just Dundee. I'll get your prediction.
They'll
Sorry,
both be on the same side, eh? So Chesnikov's right.
Yeah. So
I'm just thinking having two new guys. If they're both playing there, it might just go a bit chaotic down one side, and it might leave us, especially if they've got fast lads. I just hope that they've got their heads screwed on from the get go.
I love a bit of chaos.
Me too, man. Me too.
Bring it on. Your prediction for the Dundee game, Trunter?
I think it's going to be a really tricky one because, like John was saying, Dundee are probably out of any other team easily the most difficult to predict. But I think it's going to be a gritty 1-0 to us with Shanks scoring. and it will be one of those kind of hanging on at the end a bit, I think.
Okay. Adam, coming to you then, any players you're looking forward to seeing or anything you'd like to see from his Hearts team this weekend?
I'm going to say Karjata starts.
Hmm.
Maybe a ridiculous prediction. And then Chesnikov's on the bench. I don't know. I just want to see him get a game. I've just got a feeling. I've got a feeling he's going to do well, and I think he'll get more game time. I think McInnes is trusting him a bit more.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he'll chuck him straight into an away game. So I'm going to go for Karjata starting, and I think it's going to be easier than we're worried about at the moment. I think we'll go out there and get a nice 2-0 win.
And who's scoring? Oh, Trunner, you didn't say who's scoring as well.
Yeah, I did, Shanks.
Yeah.
Oh, apologies, sorry.
I'm going to go for Altena to score.
Excellent.
And I think he'll score, and also
Karjata.
I was going to say Karjata, but that's just...
Do it, man. Lock it in.
Fine, yeah. Okay, Karjata will score as well. He's going to set up... They're both going to set each other up for their goals. Goal and assist for both of them.
Okay, John, what are your thoughts about the game?
I don't think it'll change much, to be honest. As much as I'd like to see maybe a little shift, and like these guys have said, getting Karjata in would be nice, but I think he'll just stick with the same. And I think 2-0 Braga double.
I know that McEntee will be out for this game as well, so I mean that's, I think, pretty forced McInnes' hand as to starting Giorgio Altena. He probably had him in consideration for starting against Livingston anyway, and I expect he'll start once again. I would like to see... Oh, Harry Milne got engaged this week, so I think he is going to celebrate his engagement with a goal. And I was actually going to say 2-0 as well, but I can't have three people saying 2-0. I'll go 3-1 in that case. I'm going to see us scoring big again. 3-1, and I think it will be... Oh, who's going to score?
Who's going to score for Dundee? Hey.
I think if anyone does, it's likely to be Hay for them. For us, I think Spittle might make an appearance in this game and do something, so I'll say him. He'll be my City wildcard one. Kizaridis has been ganting for a goal for a while now. He's been doing that tricky wee move of his, and I think one of these is going to pay off and he'll get himself a goal. And I think Halkett will be back scoring yet again. So that's my 3 for us. Right, John. Loan Watch then. What have you got for us? I know Vargas has managed to get himself another loan move for a further 12 months.
Yeah, absolutely no chance I'm trying to pronounce that name, but the Costa Rican ones, yeah. I don't think he's played for them as far as I'm aware yet, but yeah, he's away to them for the year. Obviously already spoken about Danda. Seemed like he did quite well. Tate couldn't play against us. Nielsen's still out. McLucky played for Hammond in a 4-1 game, played 90 minutes. So he's definitely getting more minutes, which is good. Sandlands and Stevenson. Montrose beat Inverness 2-1. Sandland's played 90 minutes and got 2 assists.
Brilliant.
Stevenson's got 6 minutes, but Sandland's definitely seems to be the standout from what I've been looking at. Kenzie Nair, he didn't play actually, but Spartans drew 1-1 with Annan. I've not checked this in a while, obviously over the break. So it turns out he actually hasn't played in the last 4 games after being on that spell of playing 90 minutes for a while. So
I don't know if maybe their main centre back's back from injury or
Hmm.
it's fallen out of flavour. Fallen out of favour.
Or maybe he's having a Kenzie Mayer.
Then we've got Plank and Gillies. Stranraer won. No, they drew 1-1 with Edinburgh City. They both played 87 minutes. No like goal contributions, but still good that they're getting a decent bit of game time. Forrester, St Johnson drew 0-0 with Rafe. Again, I've not checked in a while, and he's actually played 80 minutes plus in the last 5 games. So definitely seems like he's back in favour,
Mm-hmm.
which is good. And then we've got the 2 goalkeepers that have obviously gone out. Well, one's been out for a while, McFarlane. Drew 1-1, Alloa and Kelty. He's played their last 4 games. And Harry Stone got a clean sheet in a 0-0 draw against Wraith for Airdrie in his first game.
Thank you for that, John. Right, so in place of a quiz this week, I set everyone a bit of a challenge. Now, the challenge was to make a starting 11 and a manager out of the 12 Scottish Premiership teams. Now, the slight hitch is you can only use each team once. So, Trunter did originally try and get 4 St Mirren players. That's just...
Jamie,
I've
I've got something to say about that.
Yep.
I should have said it in the group chat there. It turned out I was looking on the wrong page. So I actually had it on the whole time. That was like my reserves and my sort of working. I just literally turned the page over.
Okay.
I thought it's
Fine.
because you beat the 2 St Mirren games this season.
Yeah, I love that, man. And so I want to go first because out of the 4 of us, I've definitely got the shittiest ball knowledge. So if I go after you guys, it'll look like I'm copying. Fair?
Fine. Fair's fair. Adam's not is sitting this one out, so it'll just be you, John, and myself. And also, we've got someone who messaged in who wants to join in as well. So we'll come on to their one
Class.
in a wee bit. Yep. So on you go, Trunter.
Okay, now let's see how I was all confident there, but I've only given it a glance. Now let's see how wrong I've got it. So in goals, I'm going to go for Scott Bain at Falkirk.
Yep, good choice.
I'm going to have, unfortunately, Chris Cadden at right back for Hibs. Okay, then at left back, I'm going to have Declan John from St Mirren. Centre backs are the horrible, ugly sisters. I'm going to have Suter at Rangers and Scales at Celtic.
Okay.
I'm going Davy Watson at Killie, and for the Hearts representative, I've got Cammy.
Oh, nice.
Then on the wings, I'm going right wing's going to be the guy we're just talking about, Cammy Congreve at Dundee.
Mm-hmm.
And it couldn't be anyone other than Maswanise at well on the left.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going for someone who has come into my thoughts recently, who I'd never even heard his name, I don't think, until a couple months ago. Zach Sapsford at Dundee United.
Yep.
And then I'm going for another smelly ex-High B, Nisbet at Aberdeen up front alongside him. And that's going to leave our boy David Martindale managing it.
Yes. Excellent stuff.
I was stressing out my box because I knew I'd been writing and I'd been on like Wikipedia page, and I'm like, right, who plays blah blah blah? Open my thing tonight, and it shares my lyrics for the band and my stuff for the podcast. I just opened the wrong page and absolutely cacked it when we were getting started. So woo!
Wait, the lyrics for your band involves 4 St Mirren players?
Absolutely. Keanu Bacchus! I'm going to slip that into to band practice next time, just see if anyone notices that I'm just talking about fucking Paisley footballers.
Right, John, do you want to go next or would you like me to go next?
I don't mind.
Go for it.
If you want me to, I'll go.
Go for it.
So, goalkeeper, gone for Prior from Livi, just after the weekend. I've been a bit cheeky. I've put Mulligan in at right back.
Okay.
Gogic from St Mirren. Astley, centre back from Dundee, and I put, I think his name's Jack Milne from Aberdeen at left back.
Yeah,
Do you know that's all right? I don't know if he plays
he's
left back
decent.
or just left sided, but
Mhm.
I've gone midfield three, so I've got Nygren from Celtic, David Watson from Kelly, and
Mhm.
Nico Raskin from Rangers.
Mhm.
And then front three, I've got Zapsford, obviously from United as well, Masmonisi from Motherwell as well, and then I've gone for Kizarides, and then McGlynn as manager.
Who's manager? Sorry,
John McGlynn.
Mom McGlynn. That's a good choice. I rate that. Yeah, there's actually quite a few crossovers. Totally in your one, John, but I've got a few of yours as well. Trying to, and I feel less guilty about the occasional playing a couple of players slightly out of place. I did try and make it, as close to possible as possible.
I think mine were pretty nailed on, by the way.
Oh, good, well played. I mean, I spent probably far too long trying to figure out how to get, a left-footed player on the left side, and I was like, oh, well, actually, maybe they could actually play, over the other side and all this kind of stuff. I spent far too long in it, and no doubt I'm going to rattle them all off, and you'll be like, actually, you've said that player 4 times now, so.
Sure.
So the first name on my team sheet was the manager, Jens Bertolascu. He's just done a magnificent job with Motherwell. Watching them play against Celtic was just phenomenal. He was absolutely first name on my team sheet. It did mean that I had to miss out on a couple of excellent Motherwell players. Masmonisi was obviously the big one, but I feel I'd rather have that than Martindale leading my team. No offense, Ryan. So yeah, goalkeeper. I was the same as you, John. I went for Jerome Pryor. He's been a bit of a stalwart for that Livi team, and he had a fantastic game. So decided to pop him between the sticks. Then at right back, I've got Philip Lisa at Falkirk. He's been on really good form and scored at a weekend, and was also won their Player of the Month last month. So I popped him in there. Right centre back, I've gone for Miguel Freckleton from St Mirren. It's been a bit of an up and down season for St Mirren, but he's been pretty consistent throughout it, and has also managed to get himself in the score sheet a couple of times as well. And for left centre back, I went for Luke Graham, primarily due to our rumoured interest in him. But again, he was excellent during that. He's been really solid for a good few weeks now, but he's particularly good in the Dundee United derby. Left back was my Celtic player. I just went for Kieran Tierney. It's kind of a toss-up between him and McGregor. I think they're two players who still offer that Celtic team a hell of a lot. And I decided to pump for Tierney because I was quite happy with my midfield. On the right of midfield, I went for David Watson, slightly out of position because it's kind of a slight winger position for him, but still, I think he's one we all went for, wasn't it? And with good reason, because he's a quality player. Centre midfield, I decided to go for age and experience with Stuart Armstrong. Also, quite handy from a set piece, so figured that'd be good to have there beside the youth of Watson. Raskin for Rangers, not had a particularly good season, but he is obviously a top player. Then on the left of midfield, or left winger, I've gone for Kizarides. He's quite simply the most exciting player in the Premiership for me. I mean, that was probably, Hearts are probably the team I had most difficulty with, because we just got so many standout players. You could have had Devlin, you had there, Shanklin, obviously. Halkett is probably a very reasonable shout, as well as Benny. But I just wanted a really exciting player in there, and Kizarides is the most exciting of a lot. And then up front, I've gone for Sapsford as well, putting them away throughout the season, being pretty consistent. And Kieran Bowie from Hibs, finishing off my front pairing. So that was my one.
I think we all nailed that.
I think we all did pretty well there.
I think we've got a lot of similarities as well, because there's a lot of players that you both mentioned. I was like, they're people I thought about putting in as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, when I come to the one. So Hearts Insider, he messaged us on Instagram. He gave us this one. So he said, manager John McGlynn again. In goals, he went for Pryor, then Stevenson from United. Then he's gone for myself, Luke Graham, Dundee, Gogic. He's also put at centre back. Longello from Motherwell, good player. McGregor, he decided to go for in centre midfield alongside Watson. Is he the only player that all of us have said? I think he probably is, eh?
Yeah.
Then McGrath at Hibs on the left of midfield. Carlson, he was one I really considered as well, from Aberdeen. Then Moore, again, someone I did think about is centre attacking midfield option. And last but of course, by no means least, he went for Shankland up front. So yes, a good game. I really enjoyed that one. I spent far too bloody long on it. It's one we could certainly return to at the end of the season as well if we fancied it. And Adam, you can perhaps give it a wee shot as well if you fancied.
We should do it the other way around. We should do the shitest possible team, and everyone's got to have played like at least 5 games, and you've got to just basically. I've got a suspicion Martindale might be managing that one and all, but yeah,
I've got a team of Alan Forrest. What have I done?
Do you know, we were talking about as well that HITC video about players, like the best player born in every like city or town or whatever. And I was thinking, right, maybe Alan Forrest, the best player from Presley. And then I remembered he's got an older brother.
Not even the best one in his household.
Well, that's it for this week, everyone. Do join us as usual on our socials, Instagram, Blue Sky, and of course on X as well. And you can always reach out to us if you want to give us your suggestions for your top Premiership 11 and manager. Please do feel free to write in or contact us on our socials. That email address is heartsandsleevespodcast@outlook.com, and we'll read it out next week for you. Until then, fingers crossed for another 3 points and keeping it at 6 points at the top of the Premiership, if not even more. You never know. Have a good week, folks, and we'll see you after the Dundee game. Cheers.
Cheers, bye.